You end up going to Christ the King High School?
Yes. I went to Powell Memorial first with Kareem Abdul Jabbar. Lou Alcindor went. They closed, and I had to transfer to Christ the King High School.
Okay. How good was Kareem back then?
Do you think? I think Kareem might be the best center of all time. Look, man, he couldn't even dunk back there. They changed the rules on him. And I still don't understand why people don't do the jump hook, right? Why don't they go across the lane and do the jump hook? Because it ain't cool, right? It looks kind of, so people don't do it, but it was unstoppable. Kareem Abdul Jabbar, is probably, to me, the best center that ever played the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you have a top 10 list and you don't include Kareem, you probably are kind of young.
Well, who do you put before Kareem?
Yeah. I mean,
obviously
Jordan and so forth.
But at the center position, right? Look, my second person would be Wilt Chamberlain because, look, he played every game of his career he played. He never fouled out. He didn't miss a game. He scored 100 points. He was averaging like 20-something rebounds. That's a great night for me. And he played him in Chuck Taylors, right? Now guys get a hang toe with $700 sneakers on and miss 3 weeks. Remember playing with Chuck Taylors?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Or Pumas. Puma low tops. like Clyde Frazier.
Yeah, the dude never took off a game, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So were you like a superstar player in high school? Like were you McDonald's All-American?
No. Heck no. I had no time. Remember, I had to take care of my sister's children. But when I did get that little 20-minute or 30-minute break in between when I looked down from the 24th floor and all, I'd be like, man, I wish my sister would fall asleep. And my little, my nephew at the time, ended up being my son, but my nephew would fall asleep so I could run down. But he always fell asleep around 9, and everybody would have to go upstairs when the lights went on. And I would only have, like 25, 30 minutes to practice. But I practiced for 25 or 30 minutes for real, game situations. So like my friends like Tony and B. Young and Eddie and all these guys that would play, Tony and B, they would shoot and they would shoot from three-pointers and this and lollygagging. They didn't get any better. My sense of urgency and everything I've done in life made me better.
Yeah, I mean, you were essentially a teen dad.
Yeah. Kids raising kids.
Yep. Okay, so then you go to St. John's University.
Yeah.
And were you a big star there?
No, and not until I'll tell you a little story that, I played behind a big guy named Marco Baldi. So we played behind Marco Baldi, and all my friends from the Lower East Side would come and say, man, you playing behind that guy, you ain't gonna never play, you a sophomore, he's a stiff. So I said, I tell you what y'all do. If I ever get a chance, I'm gonna be good. I said, so come to the game. And when you come to the game, I said, when the second half start chanting, we want Williams, we want Williams. So second half starts, Vlad, I look up and I go, hit it. And they go, we want Williams, we want Williams, we want Williams. And then the coach said, Williams, get over here. And I come running up. I said, yes, Coach Conoseco, what do you want me to do? He said, son, I want you to take your ass into the stands with your friends because obviously they need you more than we do. Right? But that's an analogy of I could not take any shortcuts. I became the NIT MVP. We won the national championship. I had a great career at St. John's. I donated a couple $1 million back to St. John's because that school made me. They were patient with me. I was a kid raising kids, and they gave me every opportunity. I love it. It's the most famous place, the most favorite safe place that I have. When I'm feeling it, I'm feeling bad about myself, I can always go back to St. John's University.
So you do 4 years at St. John's, and then you enter the draft. And you were first round, 21st pick?
Yep, first round. Tell you a story there, if we got time.
Sure.
So we go to the draft, and I didn't want to go to the Garden because my senior year, I broke my foot. So only thing that my agent told my dad was, he can go anywhere from 5 to 25. But the only thing my dad heard was 5. Understand, my father's a dark man, lovable guy. brick mason, and he was sitting behind me with my mother, and I was sitting with Coach Carnesecca. And my father's like, oh, you gonna be all right, boy, let's go, right? And then number 5 came, and they said, the Miami Heat pick Mark Kessler. And my dad was like, oh, man, what that? And I look back, and he goes, don't worry about it, son, you be next, right? So number 9 comes, right? He was going up 8, 9, and I go, he looked back at me, oh, man. He go, don't, number 9, somebody got picked. And he said, I look back, he goes, don't worry about it, son, you're going to be next. So number 17 came, Vlad, and it's the New York Knicks. And he know St. John's is in New York, we going to the New York Knicks. And he goes, the 17th pick, David Stern, the commissioner says, the New York Knicks pick Jay. And my father tells him, yeah, Rod Mustaf. He's like, oh. So I sit back, he was like, don't worry about it, son. We're going to be next. But I double looked back, and he looked over at my mother, and he said, Barbara, I told you this boy ain't going to never be dilly squat. He said, he going to have me laying bricks the rest of my life. He ain't going to never get picked. That's a true story.
Well, you did get picked as a 21st pick to the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, boy. I know where you're going with this, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
So then you get traded immediately to the 76ers.
Right. Well, when they drafted me to the Phoenix Suns, it was tough to get me out to Phoenix because I knew at the 22nd pick I was going to New Jersey. So I was like, why are they drafting me? And I said something like, I don't even know where Phoenix was. Bunch of redneck pickup driving, this and that, so ignorant. And I remember that the governor came on with a state emergency. So we don't want that guy here. And I remember for them to get me there, my friends had to get me so intoxicated, get me on the plane. And now I thought I was waking up in the Soho Grand in Manhattan. And I woke up and I, butt naked, I opened up the curtains and I'm gonna look at Broadway or Grand Street and I look down and it's nothing but desert. And I said, oh my God, they done dropped the bomb. So I'm running around and I'm getting on the phone to the front. That's, oh, is my dad and mom okay? They're like, what? And I hear a knock at the door, right? And it's the owner, Jerry Colangelo, and Cotton Fist Simmons, the coach. And I open the door naked, sweaty, and I'm going, what happened? What, are we safe? Is the world gone? And Jerry Colangelo looked over at Cotton Fist Simmons and said, oh, we got a problem now, you know? And that was a true story. And we fought, and they ended up trading me to the 76ers where I played with your guy, Charles Barkley.
Okay. And I guess you were on the 76ers for 2 seasons, but you were pretty much on the bench the whole time.
Yeah, I was on the bench. I played with one of my most favorite people in this whole world is Charles Barkley, Curtis Martin, and Charles Oakley. Charles Barkley took me under his wing, which I wish he didn't, because at St. John's, you remember, I had my children, and I had Coach Carnesecca, and I had structure. I knew I had to be at all the time. I remember going to my first practice with Charles Barkley, who didn't practice, who never practiced. In 2 years, he practiced twice. He used to come in, Vlad, and get on the stationary bike and ride 1 mile an hour. And he'll take McDonald's, and he'll take the hot cakes and sausage and the butter and the syrup and put it in like a tortilla and squish it. And it all be coming out. It looks so good, especially when you're hung over. And he'd be eating it, and he'd be like, y'all run the floor. And he'd be pedaling 1 mile an hour, and we'd be running up and down practice, and he just sitting on the side. That's why we ain't gonna never be shit, because you guys don't run the floor. Man, practice harder. That pancakes be spitting out. And then after practice, I'm dead tired, and I say, well, man, what do we do now? We got to go, and I'm thinking like study hall or something. You go, that's it, man. 2 hours. We see you tomorrow. I'm like, that's all? And he's like, where you want to go? You want to go to the bar? And I was like, what? And I had all this free time on my hand, and I hung out with Charles, and they had to get rid of both of us in Philadelphia.